Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Dawnna St. the founder of 7 Power Moves. Donna is a serial entrepreneur, 3-time top-selling author, and a master of positioning and sales, with a remarkable story of rising from living in her car as a teenager to scaling a tech consultancy to $250 million in revenue. Based in the greater Tampa Bay area, 7 Power Moves, founded in 2025, is transforming how expert consultants and service-based businesses position themselves to attract premium clients and close sales with certainty. We'll be exploring her founding story, how her methodologies like position your authority and selling certainty empower clients, and her vision for scaling this impact-driven venture. So let's dive right in. Donna, welcome to Founders Future.
Hi, how are you? It's great to be here.
I am fantastic and truly a pleasure having you on the show today, Donna. So really would love to start at the very top for our listeners here with you. Take us back to the beginning, if you can. What specific problem in the sales and positioning landscape really inspired you to start 7 Power Moves?
Actually, I have a kind of funny story about this in regards to positioning specifically. Mm-hmm. I was a certified project manager when I first got into business and really new, really young, and I hated project management specifically. I hated it. I was working in IT projects.
Yes.
And IT projects, if you know the stats, IT projects were 50% failure. Mm. And usually that failure because of the stakeholders, the very people who were responsible for the project, whose ego was on the line for the project, were the very same people who were annihilating the scope of the project. Yeah. Really quick example, not IT. Let's say you want to build a house and you're like, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 2,000 square feet in the next 6 months. And I, as a project manager, have been there, done that, got the ugly t-shirt, can be done, not a problem at all. Yep. Other than the acts of God, we should be good. Other than a supply chain closing, no problem. About halfway through the project, the stakeholder invariably would come in and say, you know, it would be so cool. These are the words no project manager wants to hear, by the way. You know, it'd be so cool. No, I don't, Bob. And I don't want to know what would be cool. And the answer usually would be, if it could be a 4-bedroom, 3-bath with an infinity pool, like you don't have the yard for an infinity, with an infinity pool and an extra garage to hold my boat.
Oh boy.
And I want it still on time at the same budget.
Oh, okay.
Right, exactly. So it's not that it can't be done, Bob. We cannot do it with those constraints. Yeah. Invariably, those projects would fail. And that's why 50% failure, because the stakeholder. So I decided that there had to be a better way, and I wasn't going to change the whole project management landscape. So I decided I only wanted to take on failing projects. If the project had already failed, if the stakeholders' ego had already been well annihilated and bruised, if they already decided that they learned all their lessons and they'd been beaten into submission, then and only then would I take on the project. Now, that might sound crazy. Most people go, you just took on the hardest projects in the world. No, I took on the projects where the stakeholders now well behaved. He's already learned. He knows what failure feels like, tastes like. He doesn't like it. And he recognizes now that his beautiful ego is tarnished because of his behavior. So now he's a really good boy. He's going to behave the whole time. He knows how much it costs to fail. So when I ask for my budget, he's okay, fine. He knows how much time it took to fail. So when I ask for my timeline, he's okay. And when I say things like, you're going to listen to me and you're not going to put in a single change order, he goes, all right. So while everybody else thought I was like the great savior of failing projects, yeah, I wasn't. Lessons learned was the great savior of failing projects. I now just had to sit back and follow the project plan.
That's it.
But I positioned myself as the go-to girl for your mission critical projects that are on the brink of failure.
Beautiful. Okay. So with that there, obviously very in depth and very niche for where your focus is. So help us understand the nuts and bolts of seven power moves, especially for our listeners who can end up having some issues and want to come work with you. Help us understand a bit more how you are generating revenue. So the core offer. So I know you're positioning yourself as the go-to there in the space. So what
Mhm.
exactly is the core offer? Who do you like to work with most? I know that you have the
Right.
seven power moves
Well,
guide, consulting, training. Walk us
right.
through
I think first you have to understand what seven power moves is and positioning, right? Positioning is something that very rarely do business owners ever actually get a chance to taste. And that's because the only people who really talk about positioning are VCs, venture capitalists. That's it. For you to get a venture capitalist involved, you got to have a lot going on. So if you're a regular entrepreneur, you don't have the benefit of positioning. And let me give you an explanation or understanding of what that is. When Uber first came out, they were a software who was specifically going after taxi drivers. Then they realized that the Taxi Driver Association was not going to even look at them. They repositioned themselves as a completely different brand. A lot of people don't know. Do you know Coca-Cola actually started out as a pharmacy brand?
it. Interesting. I did not.
Yeah, they repositioned as a lifestyle brand. Here's
Ah,
another one for you. You heard of Gucci.
of course.
Gucci, when they in the 80s, they were actually losing their shirt. They were losing so much money because
Huh.
they didn't have a cultural identity. What
Ah,
happened was they started getting a cultural identity, and it was the hip hop culture that actually bought Gucci back. So, with that said, positioning is something that usually only a venture capitalist who's putting money in your business will actually tell you what to do. Most
mm,
people have no idea how to position their business. There are seven power moves that you need to make to position. Let me take that back. You might only need to make one. You might have done everything else right. So you might only be one power move away, but there are seven of them that determine how well you position and how much money you make.
so you provide that consultation, go in, look at their business and say, hey, these are the moves that you need to make, and I'm going to help you make them.
And the first thing we do is we look at what is their competitive edge. Most people don't know what their competitive edge is. They're usually a copy and paste of another business. They are selling themselves as our Hermes bag when they're actually just a knockoff Hermes bag. They got the same logo, they got the same colors, they got the same website. They got the same store right next door. They're like, you can have one just like Hermes and pay the same price. And people are like, why would I pay the same price? And then
Exactly.
they think their differentiator is their price, but pricing is not a differentiator.
Absolutely.
So the first thing that you have to do is recognize that you have this authority gap where your competitive edge lives.
Okay. So with that, who do you love to work with most in the space? Is it just anyone that needs that help? Smaller businesses, medium? What's the ideal client for you?
So anyone is never an answer. No.
Right.
Most of the
Exactly.
people, yeah, most of the people that I work with are certified experts. So what I mean, so what's a certified expert? Financial advisor, an attorney, someone working in a very high level expertise type of area, making a good money. But what's happened is they've hit this point where they're stagnant. They're not moving. They might be running a 7 to 8 figure business, but they've actually topped out and they can't figure out, no matter how much money they throw into marketing and no matter how much money they throw into sales, they can't seem to grow. And they say things like, my marketing isn't working. I keep changing my offers. I'm doing stuff on social. I know I need to get there, but still, I'm not moving. And they see a lot of copycats coming in their space and they're worried because they don't have ownership of the territory.
Okay. Gotcha. So really just have that nice fine niche of people that are looking for a solution, can't find it. Then they come to Donna and
Mhm.
get that positioning help. I love it. I absolutely love that. So help us understand, with that being the case, Donna, what's working best for you, being that you're in such a kind of a tight niche? How do you get new clients consistently? What does that acquisition process look like, whether it's referrals, obviously from your success, or ads, social
Mhm.
media, organic? What does that look like for us?
So there are two ways that I get most of my clients. Number one, I stand on a lot of stages. So I do a lot of speaking, and a lot of my clients, when I'm standing there, they're going, oh my gosh, you're talking to me. The other set of people are people who are investing a lot of money in marketing. So they're usually Facebook ad clients. They're usually people who are putting a ton of money in advertising, but they're not getting the return on investment they feel like they should be. And they're not sure why. And they're at the point, they're like, I don't know, I'm twerking on TikTok, but still converting. And so I'm like, stop bending over, let me help you.
Yeah, I don't think the TikTok dancing is going to bring too much at that level of business. So obviously you're getting those people from the Facebook marketing side. How do you find those people on that side?
Usually, believe it or not, marketers,
Gotcha.
people who are running marketing companies, they are the people who hear it the most. They're like, they're blaming me because their marketing isn't working. But all I'm doing is, because this is what marketing does. Marketing amplifies the message in which the CEO does. And really quick analogy, if this is positioning in a nutshell, this is a golf game. Marketing is the ball. Sales is the hole. That's the money shot. That's where you want the ball to go, right? The club is the business. The CEO is the golfer. Now, here's the thing. I don't care if you have the most beautiful swing in the world. If you are positioned to hit that thing to the parking lot, you are going to tear up that Range Rover's, right? Positioning is the direction in which you face. Now, if you're off, if you've ever golfed or even seen a golf game, if you're off by 1 degree, it's the difference between Tiger Woods and having Tiger Woods poster in your garage.
Right.
That's what positioning is in a nutshell. And the person who's responsible for it is the person running the business. Most times they don't recognize that their positioning is off. So what they do is they blame marketing, but marketing only amplifies the position. Because think about it, if you're standing there at the tee and you're looking at it, you're like, no, it looks like it should go hole in one. And it's not until you swing and marketing goes all the way out that you're like, turns out I got to replace somebody's windshield. Marketing only amplifies how good or bad your positioning is.
Incredible. Just such an incredible way to look at this. I haven't had many guests on the show that focus in this area. So grateful to have you on, really talking through the positioning side of things for founders and CEOs. I think this is going to open up a lot of eyes for our listeners here. It's just incredible so far hearing you talk through this. So with that, is there a reason that you haven't really done anything around ads? Are you just seeing that much success, or what does the ad side of things look like for you?
So for the ad side of things, it's one of those things that we will, not that we won't, that we will use ads when we have really, for ourselves, identified where we want to get those buyers. So for example, we were before only working with VCs. That's it. So VCs would call me in to literally go, help me position this investment better. And that's what I was there for. This now allowing the entrepreneurial audience to have access to this is new. And we've been doing it extremely well. But generally, our audience is paying us $30,000 to $60,000 for 6 months, $100,000 for the year. So to have a product, a lower ticket product that's only $3,000, so that the regular everyday entrepreneur can even go in and learn about it and be able to use it, is very new. So that's why we haven't tapped into advertising yet.
Okay, very interesting there. And obviously just a full-fledged offer that you have. Incredible. So what does that sales process look like? You have everything really set in stone here, Donna. Are you running the show on your own, or do you have that sales team?
No, we have a team. But what happens is generally it's an area where I gotta be honest, I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is, that people usually go in, I'll use an example. We have very simple funnel. They take a quiz, they find out what their positioning combination should be, right? Because it doesn't have to be all 7 power moves. You might only need 1 or 2 or a combination of 3. So we tell them, hey, these are the power moves you should make. It's 6 questions. From there, we suggest that they go watch a webinar. And we have a 60-minute clinic that people can watch, and it really gives them the secrets of positioning. And then from there, they could buy the program and get a 30 to 60-minute consultation with me or not. So it's pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Very straightforward on that. With that, obviously, so many things are in place and working so well for you. What do you think about right now as something like a bottleneck that's preventing from growth or just
Oh,
blocking a bit from that growth, whether it's lead gen, converting clients, or fulfillment with your
me.
current capacity? You, okay.
No, 100%. It's one of the things
Expand on
that
that.
my team and I were literally just talking about this weekend. And literally, I got off the phone with someone just an hour before I spoke to you. We're going to solve this problem before it happens, which is I'm getting on more and more stages. I speak worldwide. So having a team that will be doing the sales, having a team that will be doing the lead gen, having a team that will be handling all of that and not just relying on my brain is going to be critical. And so we're getting into that now because the entrepreneurial market is significantly larger than the VC market. So VCs, I can handle that with no problem. Entrepreneurs, there's a lot of them.
It's an ocean. It's an ocean out there. It is an ocean for sure.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that I'm not in the way.
I love it. I love it. With that, then talk to us about Donna's vision. Let us in the brain a bit more. What are you looking at for seven power moves over the rest of 2025, going to 2026, whether you have specific revenue targets or impact goals, performance targets? Obviously, you're looking to expand on the sales side, lead gen, have a team handling that. Talk to us about your top priorities for the rest of the year here, Dawn.
I think my top priority is this. I was homeless when I was 19.
Yep.
And to be able to go from that to running a tech company that's worth $250 million before I got my degree, I was able to do that because I had mentors who really just invested in me. And they invested in me because I did the work, right? So I would say that my purpose, the reason that I'm still doing this and not just retiring on a beach somewhere drinking pina coladas, which by the way bothered my stomach anyway. But the reason that I'm doing this is because entrepreneurship is the fuel of this country's money. It is our bread and butter. It's not the big companies. Like everybody thinks it's the apples. It's not the apples of the world that actually fuel us. It is the apples of the world that give us the tools that help us be stronger, better entrepreneurs. So my number one goal isn't actually a financial goal. My number one goal is to impact those entrepreneurs for real. Like, how can we actually see a market change to your finances, to how much money you're making, to your revenue from helping you at your positioning? So like my first goal is, how do we get, like, our actual launch for the whole new program is June 15th. And we're asking our questions like, how do we hit 1,000 entrepreneurs by the end of December? How do we hit that number?
Absolutely incredible. I mean, you have me in awe just with your presence, your passion, just a beautiful soul. Truly so grateful having you on the show today, Donna. I would love to hear from you. Where do you see the positioning and sales industry evolving in the coming years? And obviously, with your unique methodologies and how you're approaching the space, how are you positioning Seven Power Moves to take advantage of that evolution that you're picturing?
Right. I think right now, in regards to sales, and I'll use sales specifically, clients are smarter. They already know your features, advantages, and benefits before you even get on the phone with them. They're not buying that anymore. They're not buying your product. Clients are buying one thing and one thing only: certainty. So they're buying the future, they're buying certainty. In order to really sell that to the clients, you have to be positioned as the person who can deliver that future. Period. The end. So there is a shift happening right now in the industry, and it's so freaking obvious. And so for me, I would love for this to be a part of when an entrepreneur walks out, the first thing they start thinking before they put their shingle up is, how do I want to position myself? Not how do I want to duplicate my competitor and be a knockoff version of them.
Absolutely incredible. With that, I want to just take us into a lightning round again. Just been such an insightful episode. I'm loving every second of it and just loving having you on. So truly, again, appreciate you coming on the show today, Donna. So I would love to know, with the lightning round side of things, let's talk about a tool or a resource that you're using, whether it's a sales strategy from the selling certainty methodology, a mindset shift, an AI tool. What's been a game changer for Seven Power Moves this far?
I would say number one, yes, using AI has been extremely helpful because I think my brain moves as fast as AI sometimes. And so I
Yep.
need something that can keep up with me. AI has been a game changer. And I will tell you, this will actually make you laugh a little bit. So I went to AI, I gave it data, I talked about me, I talked about sales, and I'm
Mhm.
like, how can I reach my clients better? And AI literally told me, we recognize you're an expert. You have to show them you're a human. AI told me to be more human.
More human. That is phenomenal. That is amazing.
That was everything to me right there. I was like, okay.
I got it. Love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it. Just to finish us off here, I think this is going to be the most important question of the podcast because of how insightful and intelligent and just passionate you are about success. What kind of advice, Donna, can you provide for our listeners right now? And I have a feeling that many of our listeners might be reaching out to you for positioning. It's something that is incredibly crucial, especially to those who are struggling out there. What can you offer them before we wrap up the show?
This is the one thing that I do with every one of my clients. And I swear to you, it is the most impactful thing that you could do. Personify your business. Literally sit back and say, if my business was a person, who would it be? How would it move? What would it do differently than everyone else out there? What does it do on the weekend? Like literally personify. I just did a personification report this morning for one of my clients, and she sat there and was like, oh my gosh, this person, this business is, and they named it Ellison. Yes, you have to give your business a name.
Okay.
Mine is Lumina, by the way. Ellison would never go after this type of client. It completely changed the clients they went after, the messaging they use, all of that. Personify your business. If you do that one exercise, just
Mm.
that one exercise, it will be a game changer in regards to how you see yourself in the marketplace.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible and so insightful. Again, love every second of this episode. And with that, that is going to wrap up this episode today of Founders Future. Donna, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, sharing your incredible journey and your insights again. You have an absolutely beautiful soul. Your energy is incredible, so much passion, and clear as day why you have so much success. So, again, massive thank you to having you on the show today. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which I know so many of you have, as did I, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also check out 7 Power Moves at 7powermoves.net for their free 7 Power Moves guide, and follow Donna on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Donna. For more resources and insights, visit closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.